HTO. Just kidding. Yeah, so really cool, really good if you have them in your area. They have a bunch of teas. This one is root beer. Oddly enough, it's pretty good. Did y'all see the joint from last week? Find a Joint Friday. The deep dive. Deep dive's doing pretty good. I mean, comparatively speaking to other videos that we've posted for Find a Joints, this one's doing pretty good. Probably because we said festival in it. That seems to trigger people. I don't know. It was a, what was it called? Interlocking tenon. So this has a tenon that goes in here, and it's locked in place with a domino. Which you could do, like, with like a piece coming out here, you know, domino, and then put a domino slit in there. And, you could do it from both sides really even. But I just thought it would look cool. Just cut off flush. I think it does. I like it as a feature piece. If you make like actual like walnut domino that goes into like maple or white oak or something like that, it'd be pretty cool. So that was last week. Got a couple different things to talk about today. This weekend, I guess, was kind of a weird one. Kid was sick yesterday, so woodworking wasn't exactly woodworking yesterday. It was actually designing and 3D printing little storage cubby boxes. I think they came out pretty good. They're nothing special. The only thing that like justified, in my opinion, to like make them was that I wanted them to fit specifically into these. So I picked up those shelves right there, and it came with a bunch of these. These are old like Hillman. There it is, Hillman boxes from like your hardware store. It's actually where I bought them from. Was a hardware store. They were getting a new displays. So they didn't come with any organizers though. He said that there was like cardboard or something inside of them. So I just picked them, and he said he chunked them. So they were just empty. So they're literally just these. But it's part of the system, right? Like it all jives together. So I designed all these guys to kind of nest in the box. Sorry for the vertical today, by the way. Apparently, whatever orientation you have it in, whenever you go to click on your go live, is what you're going live in. So that was fun. But yeah, they all fit in here. Perfect. Which took a little math, surprisingly. Imagine that. But I don't know. I like it. I'm going to be able to use this for quite a bit of hardware and stuff, odds and ends. I'm going to make a new label for the fronts of them. I might even do something for the top. I haven't decided yet, but that'll be pretty cool. I have like 15 of these, so should be able to do a lot of storage with it. I don't think I'm going to use them all right now, but gives me some growing room. So all the odds and ends bolts and nuts and whatever. Right now, I just have them in like a terrible organizer. It just doesn't work very well. So I think these will work better because I can take this to the bench. You know. I also made these larger ones to go into the box as well. Both of these together fit the box pretty much perfect, just as those other ones did. And they fit sandpaper. So I'll be able to put all my sandpapers in there as well. I think that'll be pretty cool. Because I've seen a lot of different solutions, and none of them really spoke to me as far as like being cool or useful to me. So I can actually take these to the bench, with the sandpaper inside. And then whenever I'm done, I can just slide it back on the tray. They fit in like so. Just like that. And they fit 5-inch sandpaper pretty much perfectly, which is pretty cool. So, yeah, very excited about that. I built a box, just not in the woodworking sense. What else? I made the butt cheek. This is a dust fitting that is going to have, well, it has 1 4-inch on this side and 2.5 inches on this side. So I'm going to use this for my router table and for my table saw. So both of them run 2.5-inch ports. And I didn't really realize just quite as how drastic of a difference 2.5 versus 4 diameter or surface area wise, until I started actually like designing this. I was like, hey, I could probably use 4 off of that, or reduce that 4 down to 2.5s. And I was curious. I was like, how much surface area are these versus this? Both of these 2.5-inch circles are smaller than the one large circle. So always order the large pizza, never the medium. That's the moral of the story. So this is going to be pretty cool, I think. There's a lot of these on the market that are like out like 45, so they're sitting like this instead of like straight. And I wanted it straight because I want them to come off and go their own way. I don't want it to necessarily like be splayed out like this. Carbon Method makes something similar to this, but theirs has magnets, and that's cool, but that's not it's not what I want. They're kind of expensive too. This was just me printing plastic. 3D printing wise, printed this. It's a triple glue holder for my Boss Dog glues. So holds the brown, the original, and the clear. Put the logo on the front. It's probably backwards for you, but same difference. Has these little reinforcing corners, and then it's got a couple screw holes on the back. I was going to be like, oh, maybe I could put like some kind of French cleat, like 3D printed deal on it. But yeah, it looked like a butt. That's why I call it the butt cheeks. But yeah, so I think I could just put a wood like French cleat on here instead with these screw holes. So that'll be pretty cool. Can hang it on the wall. Hey, Noah. I was in the military too. I wasn't a truck driver though. Truck driving's fun. Especially in the military, it's a little bit different than other things. Nice, got like six people. 6 people, pretty good. It's a little chilly in here still. Not nearly as cold as it was. Was it this week? No, last week. Yeah, last week it was in the teens here, or close to the teens. I think it was like 20 degrees, like 20 even. So, and so yeah. I'll leave the butt cheeks right here for you. So this is pretty cool. I don't know if this is really going to go anywhere as far as if we're actually going to make these for sale or not, because it does take quite a bit of filament, but it is super sturdy, very stiff. So we'll just kind of see how that goes. Might make a video about it though, a little short. Brought something else. Last thing. or these little Packout insert deals. So like this, Packout storage organizers or whatever. These guys will fit into the Packout, so you can screw this to a piece of plywood, or you can screw it to bolt it to like a drill box if you have like a different brand drill versus a Milwaukee. And then it has a little locking tab too. So that's what really sold me on this, because you can screw these to anything and then attach this guy, and there you go. You got everything you need to attach it to your Packout. Because I've been doing a lot of like on-site work the last couple weeks. I was out on site on today as well, and I have a Packout system, but I don't. I don't have like a Milwaukee drill, and like I don't even think that they sell like a drill like Packout deal. At least not that I'm aware of. And either way, I don't have Milwaukee, so like it doesn't make a difference. But I want my drills I put on top, and like if you go over like a bump or like you rack that guy side to side, everything that you have on top, if it's not like attached, it's just gonna fall off. So, yeah, I'm gonna attach these guys to the bottom of my drill box, see how that works, and I might attach some other things as well. I think it'd be pretty cool. Yeah, more of them. It's enough plastic for the night, I suppose. Made some lists. Let's see. This guy. Everyone wants to hate on the Black & Decker drill. This was the first drill that I ever got. And I bought this thing like 10 years ago at least. This thing's at least, I don't even know if they have like a, do they even have like a manufacture date on here? Let's see. Oh, it does. 2014. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. Hang on. We'll get it there. I know some people have trust issues. There it is. See that 2014? So, sucker's old. I was a college kid at the time. Couldn't afford a whole bunch of drills, and I definitely couldn't afford like a DeWalt or something like that. So I bought a generic DeWalt, I guess you could say, Black & Decker. My dad had a Black & Decker drill too, like growing up, and it was like called the Firestorm or something like that. It was like those nickel cadmium batteries, super like. It was probably like cutting edge for the time, I guess. It was pretty cool because it had a drill chuck, and then it had two little tabs, and you just pop that off, and then it had like a driver chuck right behind it, so you could drill and then pop that guy off, and then drive a screw without like any kind of crazy, I guess, switching of tools. Heaven forbid you buy two drills or have to undo a chuck, right? That thing was insanely long. It was hilariously long. It was probably like it was like twice the size of this as far as length and everything, because it was a brushed drill. It was one of the very first like cordless drills that ever came out, and it I thought that thing was cool though. I thought it was pretty powerful. I thought that you didn't have to like the fact that you didn't have to have it plugged into the wall or something was really cool. Batteries always died. They were terrible. Nickel cadmium, like old school battery system, like there wasn't a good one. Like we had blue Ryobi too back then, and it was not good. So yeah, I bought this because I thought it was pretty cool because it has these two little buttons. Back in the day, that was like, hey, screw or drill. And what it would do for the screw, you can see how it's like kind of jerking my hand because it like has this thing called auto sense, and once it changes, like the tension or whatever, like it stops and it starts giving you little jerks to slowly tighten the screw. in practice, it doesn't really work that great, but I don't know. It was cool at the time. Normal, I have a question. I might have an answer. What's that question? Throw it in the comments. So I still keep this around because it reminds me of where I started, this one single tool. And also, um, it's really good for drilling or screws, like small screws for cabinetry and all. Because this guy is a lot smaller than the Ryobi or the Makitas that I have. So like this guy gets into tighter spaces than the other stuff. So that's why I keep it around. I used to have 3 batteries for this. 2 of them have slowly died, so now I'm down to 1. I might buy some knockoffs or something off of Amazon or something. I don't know, but to keep it going because I don't know how long this one will last. But it's still kicking, I guess. Where's that question at? Come on, man, post the question. If y'all have questions, post them in the comments. Just throw the question in there. You don't have to ask. So, yeah. Hate on my Black & Decker drill. It's okay. It's not the only drill I have. You're not hurting my feelings. I think it's still fine. Brands are overrated. If you have all one single color of tools, it probably means that you like to collect tools more than you like to use them. That's all I have to say about that. Just offended all the Makita people, or not the Makita, the Milwaukee people. And then I feel like the people that are strongest, like opinionated, are Milwaukee people. If I had to point at one, pointing at you. And right behind that is DeWalt, my opinion. Because, yeah, Ryobi people don't care. They're just happy to have a tool. Like, I mean, that's pretty much all my Ryobi tools. Like, I have them because maybe I take them to a job site and maybe they get damaged or break. I don't care. It was less than $100 type of deal. Whereas like it was like a Makita or even DeWalt or Milwaukee or whatever, then like I just lost a couple $100, you know? Like most of their good tools are a couple $100. So it's pretty crazy. Tool of the week. Kutzall Rasp. This is a rasp that has, you can see this one's all dirty, but it has little like burrs on it instead of like your traditional rasp that has like stitches, I guess, stitching. I think that's what it's called. That's what we're gonna call it right now. Stitching. This has like random, just little like grit to it almost. Um, and if you have like material that has glue in it or something, they will clog up a little bit like that. But you can usually brush most of it out, and it'll usually like kind of clear itself out too. But these are really good for if you have a little bit of a slightly like larger tenon or something that you want to make just a hair smaller, more aggressive than sandpaper. Like this guy will work really well for that. So it has a half curved side and flat side, so it gives you kind of the best of both worlds of being able to get into those curves as well as get those flat spots. After I did the what was it? The bread knives. I shaped all that stuff with like a cheap Walmart rasp that I had because I just don't use rasps very much. So I got this guy instead. And this works really well. It removes a good amount of material. It doesn't leave like heavy track marks, I guess you could say, in the wood because it has that random pattern. It doesn't like make grooves as much as like scratches, I guess. Does that make sense? It's pretty much like going through and clearing out majority of the material or whatever without like making grooves through it. most of your normal like rasps will make grooves. You have to kind of like go at an angle to kind of get those away, and even then they still make them. You have to clean up the file, sanding, all that stuff. So these don't make it quite as aggressively, I guess, but it still removes a good amount of material at one time. So yeah, pretty cool. They're a little bit pricey, I think. I think this one was maybe $30. I don't see them lasting like forever. Like it's not gonna last like a rasp would probably, but I think it cuts. I got a nice rasp just now, so I'm gonna try it and compare it to this. But like, I think this cuts like more evenly than that. Maybe I would say this is like in between like a big rasp and like a file. I don't know, but works really good. So, oh, what else we got? I sit on a stool from Harbor Freight. In typical Harbor Freight fashion, it shrinks on me over time. So I have to give myself a little boost every once in a while. She's not the sturdiest, but she was the cheapest. It's like what you say about the bar, I guess, right? I don't know. I don't go to the bar. Oh, what did I have? There's something else. If you're sick, raise your hand because everyone's sick still this time of year. We were sick over Christmas and New Year's. We weren't New Year's, but definitely Christmas. And it really sucked. So, throw your questions in the comments. Let's have a little chatty chat. Throw it in there. Let's see what you got. In the meantime, I will tell you a story about what happened to us this weekend. We were at church, and I had someone ask me like what it was like, I guess, being full time, and because I guess if y'all didn't know, I am full time woodworking. It's not well woodworking and home remodel, I would say. So like we do home repair, home remodel type stuff because we have bills that need to be paid, and that's a good way to pay them. Not everyone wants to have a custom desk or furniture made for them. Obviously, that would be what we would prefer, but cabinetry, home repair, home remodel type stuff, that is really what pays the bills for me. So, you know, get it where you want it. I don't, I would say as far as preference goes, it's definitely not our first preference of work. Cabinetry is good, but home repair, home remodel, I would much rather spend time in the shop than like be out on the road every single day. And, you know, obviously that's preference, but I am not complaining about it because it's still better than the job that I was doing. I was a home insurance or homeowners damage adjuster. So like homeowners insurance damage adjuster, I would go in whenever people would have losses, and I would have to assess their home and follow up with them and go through the whole process. And like it really just kind of makes you callous to those situations, which probably isn't the best thing. It also makes you very, very risk averse. What I mean by that is like I don't take risks that I used to take risks or not like because I've seen those things go bad. So like I'm not a betting person, and I'm definitely not a betting person after being an adjuster because you see where people have bet and lost, and it makes you not want to bet. I guess so. But back to the story. We were at church. Had a guy come up to me and ask, what it was like to be full time. And he genuinely wanted to know. He really has best interests at heart, stuff like that. Like I'm throwing a not throwing a dig or anything like that at him because I really appreciate him asking, and honestly, it gave me something to think about. But he was like, how is it working full time? He's like, it must be scary. working full time. And he was like, you like, how do you feel about that? Like, how does your work come in and everything like that? And we kind of talked about it. And then I what he thought about what he said, and I'm like, I was talking to my wife on the way home. I'm like, it's scary, yes. You have to be a lot more self sufficient, yes. Um, but I don't think it's that much scarier than working for someone else. And what I mean by that is it's it's scary working for someone else who decides that you don't matter to them anymore, I guess, or like you're not essential. I'm talking like layoffs and fires and stuff like that, right? Or even not even that drastic, like even changing like what you do as a job. Even in my jobs previously, like we started out doing A and we ended up way over here at B, as far as like how we had to do our job. And the pay usually never correlates to that either. Like, so you start out working this hard and then you double that, but the pay doesn't double. And they don't care. Like, big corporations don't care. And that's fine for some people, but it could be scary for you, right? Like, what are you going to do if you get laid off? Like, you're going to go look for another job. What am I doing every day? Well, I'm looking for another job that pays the bills. So that's pretty much what it is. So I don't know what Raw Dog Randy's talking about, but it's pretty dumb. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much like I. He asked me that, and I gave him just the generic answer. But really, I thought about it some more, and I was like, no, like it's really not that scary. Like it's it's a job. It's just a different job that I don't have to report to everyone else about, and makes things work. You know, it makes me be sufficient for my family, just as if I was relying on someone else to be sufficient on that. Because then you're still asking for success. It's just through your company. So your paychecks are probably more steady, but at the end of the day, like they probably even out. One to the other. So that's all I got to say about that. What y'all got to talk about? You see the Wood Daddy and the Bessie clamp. The best clamp. I say it's the best clamp because it is the best clamp. And yes, they are expensive, but they're really good quality. They actually have rivets like holding it in, two of them. On this, this is a K-Body Revo Junior. Oh, I can't read that. Their pads are a lot thicker than your average pad from like Harbor Freight, who has their, what is that one called? It's Bremen or something like that. Some weird gibberish name for their clamps. Has Acme threads for the clamping, which is really nice because it's deeper. You get more movement each time you twist it. And yeah, you see how you can see that little bit of gap at the bottom here? It's supposed to be there. So like whenever you clamp it, it doesn't want to twist out. It like goes straight. So it'll clamp straight as opposed to like flexing and then popping out. So pretty cool clamps. If you feel like they're expensive though too, like too expensive for you, rather than like just go straight to Harbor Freight or some other cheap clamp. I think the worst clamp, I shouldn't say that. The worst one I've seen is like an Irwin clamp. And they're at Home Depot. No, sorry, Lowe's. They might be at Home Depot. I don't know. But they're definitely at Lowe's. And they're not very good. I actually stripped one out once whenever I was twisting it down, and then the pads on them are super thin, and they popped off like instantly. They popped off so fast. I was like, "Is this just for packaging, or what is this?" Didn't make sense. I got those when I first started woodworking. They weren't very good. They might be better now. I don't know. I haven't bought them in a while, but I don't intend to. Yeah. Oh man. So that's pretty much what we got. I made a list. I went through the list. No one asked any questions yet. It's kind of lame. Harbor Fair's 12-point index sockets. Yes, they do. I don't get where you're getting at. I guess most of them are 6-point, right? Most of them, yeah, probably. I guess all of them are pretty much 6 point, except for that. That comes in handy, I guess. I don't know, like 12-point, like true 12-point. I've only really encountered on like head bolts. 12 is rare, yeah. That's pretty cool. I like sending it with a chrome and just putting some eye protection on. Concrete mixers. Like to repair them or like to mix concrete? Can not like not like directly, but like are you turning something with it or are you like fixing them with a 12-point? I can see 12-point like stripping faster than like if you had the 6-point, I suppose. There's a was it Torque Test channel? And they do reviews of like different different impact sockets and regular sockets and different tools. It's pretty cool. I definitely recommend it. It's very analytical, I guess. They have like graphs and everything for dumb people like me. It's pretty cool. But they kind of go through all those like noise, big claims of torques, and they actually did some flashlights and stuff too. It's pretty interesting. Definitely recommend checking it out if you're into that stuff. I am to a certain extent. I like watching it. So 12-point impact on 6-point bolts. Yeah. So I mean it gives you more flexibility on like getting it on there. So I just bought some impact sockets today because I was doing some concrete anchor work, and those were 6-point. I bought enough of those. They were Craftsman, I guess. It's not the same Craftsman that like you grew up with. I wouldn't say they're bad, but like they're not as good as they used to be. So, all right, it's getting cold in here, so I'm gonna end it off here. End it a little early. I will see you guys next week. We should have more stuff to talk about then, because I will have some cabinets being built in the shop. I will be kind of going over that process, how that looks, as far as sourcing materials and everything. It's like 50 in here right now. Yeah, sourcing materials, drawer slides, the logistics of it. Should you make drawers yourself? All that stuff. We'll definitely talk about next week, whenever I get more into the cabinetry stuff. I'm still waiting on some parts and everything to come in for those jobs. Going to do some LED lights as well for the underside of some floating shelves. So I haven't gotten a chance to unpack that stuff yet. But once I get that unpacked, we'll be able to kind of go over that as well. feel like it's easier to kind of just go over it more informally during the live versus like making a full on video about it. And plus, if I say something, I'll just, you know, say I'm sorry because it was live. If I say something wrong about it. But those are pretty cool. It took a lot of research to get the products that I did on it. I think they're pretty top notch quality. Um, so once that comes in, we'll be able to kind of look at that together, as well as hardware. This versus that, retrofit a cabinet versus brand new cabinet, all that stuff. That'll be next week. So appreciate you guys. I will talk to you next week.